It was a tough night for Detroit and for Grand Rapids. Both teams had a 2-1 lead. Both teams lost their way. Self-inflicted wounds, strong goaltending, whatever you want to call it, it was a bad night for Detroit fans. What was a game where you had things in hand, saw some self-inflicted wounds take over, and the Red Wings, they're just hugging on to the final wildcard spot at this point. This is your 7-Minute Wings. Welcome back to the Red Wings Report with Strings and Pucks. This is Jeremy Laura. So I'm really trying to figure out how to word this today because yesterday was a tough night for hockey if you're a Detroit fan. First, we'll take a look at Grand Rapids. Any Grand Rapids loss right now is a kind of, well, that's too bad, because each loss is going to make it harder for them to win the points in the league, basically the President's Trophy for the AHL. So they're up 2-1. John Leonard's having another great game. Eddie Genborg does not play in that one. The team has 3 games in 3 nights. They didn't want to throw him into that right away. So Genborg doesn't play. The team's clicking along, and then boom, third period, they lose 5-2. Okay, move on. Not a huge deal. Disappointing for sure. When they're locked to win their division, they're really just trying to win the points total in the AHL. Ironically, they're in the running against Providence. So there's always this back burner competition against the Bruins organization right now. And that's who Grand Rapids is keeping their eyes on. And ironically, last night, that's who Detroit needed to be keeping their eyes on. The Red Wings enter the third period. They go up 2-1. They end up getting 43 shots on net. There's a lot that the team did that you like. But as he's learning the game, I have to think and even hope a little bit that Simon Edvinsson didn't get much sleep last night. A play where you fail to convert. The team was hoping they could go ahead 3-1 with a power play opportunity. Then a little nothing play where Edvinsson doesn't stick check Zadorov. He just doesn't gap up. This quick little shot. Of course you want Gibson to have that. It's a screenshot from far out. Boston was up on the rush. They were ready to go. They were energized. They were engaged. They scored the game-winning goal like that. And that's one you cannot give up. Edvinsson, young defenseman. We know this. He's up for his extension. He and Seider for most of the year have been one of, if not the top defensive pairing in the league. There were times in December and January where they were literally called the best defensive pair in the NHL. But Edvinsson absolutely blew that assignment. And I have to think that right now, this one's eating him alive. This is one where you wake up and feel worse about it the next day. The team doesn't have the luxury to dwell on this because I had talked about this game being a must-win. Well, the game against Ottawa coming up is absolutely a must-win now. This is a team that's on the outside of the playoffs. You're basically now holding on. 84 points for Detroit, 86 for Boston, 86 for Montreal. We're still talking about a 2-point difference. The Senators, they still believe and feel like they have a shot to get things done. And Ottawa's going to play like a team that's either going to be a spoiler or a team that still believes they could back into the postseason. I'm trying to find the positive on this. Detroit's fate is still in their hands. If Detroit loses to Ottawa in regulation, you could see a leapfrog next week where Ottawa gets into the playoff picture, or at the very least, you push the Islanders back into the playoffs, and Detroit falls out. You have 12 games left. If Detroit misses the postseason, we're going to be talking about individual games going into the summer. We're going to be talking about the games against Florida that Detroit needed to step up and win. And we're probably going to be talking about this game against Boston. If Detroit loses this identical game in December or January, it's hockey. That happens. But no, you lost it when you know after that you only have 12 more kicks at the can to get into the postseason. And Simon Edvinsson, He just realized that a 2-second mental lapse in hockey can cost you a game and possibly the postseason. That's a tough lesson to learn, but it's one you need to have. This team is still not across the board the right kind of hungry to get into the postseason. And what I mean by that is not understanding that letting down your guard at the end of a failed power play, that can cost you the entire game. A lazy shift change, lazy coverage. Again, if Edvinsson gets his stick on the puck or at least is blocking Zadorov so that if Zadorov launches the puck toward the net, it goes off to the corner, it deflects, whatever, that puck cannot get through you. And that's a detail he's going to have to add to his game to be remembering that at the end of a shift or the beginning of a shift, whatever happened, that momentum change, that second, that moment can cost you a game. And the implications could be a lot further than just a single game. We've got 12 games left for this team to tell us if they can make the postseason or not. And make no mistake, we all know going into this year, that's the goal, get to the postseason. So they're either going to accomplish that or they're going to fail at attempting that. If they fail, 10 straight years missing the playoffs and you don't have a first-round pick. If they accomplish it, to be frank, this is a team that probably doesn't make it past the first round, but they get some playoff experience, and that is important, I believe. It is important, in my opinion, for this team to make the postseason, to advance as an organization, to get some maturity, to get some experience. Now, they have a do or die coming up against Ottawa. And if they don't get that done, the last 11 games of the season could just be that slow fade away and be very difficult to watch. But hopefully, the Red Wings can bounce back and put this behind them. This was your 7-Minute Wings.